Good morning. We want to welcome you back to day 2 of our virtual summit on contract strategy. And we're very pleased that so many of you were able to join us on the first day, and all of this is being recorded. So if you missed the first day, you'll have an opportunity to sit down and listen to what we covered. And if you go to the next slide. We have a kickoff again this morning with our Thought Leaders Team to cover some of our thoughts about today's program. And if you go to the next, I'm Bob Weibel, Senior Project Manager at CII. And in day 2, we're going to look at industrial integrated project delivery, European collaborative and contracting initiatives. I think you're going to find the program really builds on what we covered and discussed yesterday, where we were looking at more traditional contracting methods, but we did get into a little bit of discussion of some of these newer approaches. And with that, we have a little video clip to share with you all.
98% of all mega projects run over schedule and over budget. While capital projects are a multi-billion-dollar industry, improved shareholder value and profit is the product of safe and effective work plans and advanced and accurate data. Are you ready for more efficient projects that improve the triple bottom line? You're in good company. This is CII. Based at the University of Texas, CII is a not-for-profit think tank, boasting a roster of Fortune 500 owners, successful engineers and construction contractors, and world-renowned suppliers and technology firms, who all share the goal of maximizing project potential while minimizing costs and hazards. Together, we have achieved an 88% increase in workplace safety, 16% improvement in materials management, and an average $8 million saved for every $100 million spent. As the best of both academia and the world's leading member organizations in energy, manufacturing, space exploration, and beyond, we develop the innovation and groundbreaking capital projects of tomorrow, today. We are your company's R&D lab for capital projects, founded with the core goal of dramatically improving the people, process, technology, and business models that drive our industry. We are in this together because advancing capital projects works best through the power of us. CII is your opportunity to engage with the leaders of your industry and establish cutting-edge solutions for costly issues that plague our projects. Join CII today to find what amazing new heights you can reach when allied with the best and brightest minds in the capital projects industry. CII is reinventing the projects industry. You won't want to be left behind.
Thank you. We hope that, I'm sure that many of you are already familiar with us at CII, but if you're not, we hope you, as a result of your experience here yesterday and today, you do reach out to us and engage in a dialogue about the potential benefits of your being involved in our organization. If you go to the next slide, we were founded in 1982. We really carry our work out through some major committee structures. We have 5 sectors, which really cover oil and gas and power utility, et cetera. And we have 9 communities of business advancement, which include AWP and supply chain management, the leaders of which are actually in our thought leader group this morning. And in addition to that, we have 4 standing committees, and we hold annual conferences and webinars like this to provide the kind of information and dialogue that helps the capital facilities industry make advancements that are so badly needed. If we go to the next slide, and this just gives you another little summary of some of what that video covered. And if you go to the next, one of the things that's a hallmark of CII is our work in the whole area of safety. And you saw a little clip of that in the video. We open all of our meetings with a safety moment. And I thought it was appropriate today to actually talk about summer. We're hearing that a number of communities are having a hard time getting lifeguards. And so they're having a lot more beaches open with no lifeguards at all. The COVID-19 really clobbered them in terms of doing training for people for Red Cross qualifications. And so there's a lot more hazard up and down, at least the Atlantic seaboard, and I know on the West Coast, I was out there recently, they're seeing the same problem. And of course, there are the usual hazards of sharks and jellyfish, but paying attention to this issue of riptides, which is why you want a lifeguard, a lifeguarded beach, is important. If you see a beach, and look carefully at that photo on the right-hand side, it's in Florida, where you have sort of a scalloped edge to the beach, that's a clear sign that the riptides are in place. A beach should not look like that. It should look uniform straight. But when you get that scallop edging, that's the warning sign. So with that, let's move to the next. We'd really like to thank our sponsors for the summit, Shell, Autodesk, Hilti, Digital Construction Works, PTAG, the Collaborative Contracting Community, Durham School of Architectural and Engineering Construction, Melius Professional Consultants, COA, our friends up north, ECI, European Construction Institute, and ECITB. Thank you very much for doing this. You can go and join them in their virtual rooms as a link out of this program, and they can provide you information about some of the programs that they're doing. We'll go on to the next. Those of you who weren't able to join us, we did sort of a recap at the close of yesterday's session and collected a series of what we call golden nuggets, talking about the spectrum of traditional contracting approaches, considerations for employing AWP and traditional contracting methods. Some good case studies were shared, a lot of follow-up questions in terms of some of the details of how that works, and then cases of collaborative approaches. And we did look at COA's collaborative contracting framework, which was one of the separate presentations. At the end of the session, if you go to the next slide, we did a sort of a word mapping exercise. We asked everyone to comment, and they sort of an automated vote, and we'll do again today. And this was sort of the structure of what people said they got out of yesterday's sessions, and a lot of good feedback from all of our participants. I think we're around 140, 150 attendees in and out of the program over the course of the day. And with that, I'm going to, if you go to the next. This really brings together for this session sort of world experts on contracting strategy. If you go to the next, our thought leaders who you see at the top of the screen are Jay Moser from Shell, Annabella Martin from Hilti, Jamie Gerbrecht, who is recently retired from ExxonMobil, and Eric Ravella from Digital Construction Works. We're really pleased to have them join us again. They're going to give some opening thoughts this morning, introduce the speakers that will be covered in the sessions, and then they'll be coming back at the end for the closing session to talk about what do we hear and learn, and to help lead discussion and answer in the question and answer session. If we go to the next, these are the subject matter experts, 3 of whom spoke yesterday, and the rest will be introduced to you separately. And go to the next. The summit theme is really looking at what's available in terms of traditional contract strategy, compensation models, and how do you choose, and then how do you use these collaborative models to address the problems we've had with the traditional systems. A lot of hard work over the course of a year between both CII and COA and CURT and other organizations to address these problems and make this program possible. Go to the next. So I'd like to turn this over to Stephen Medlow from Group ASI. They're doing the technical work behind the scenes, and he is going to describe how to be involved in the session. Stephen?
Good morning, everybody. I just want to quickly remind everybody that Feedloop is one of the two key elements of the CII Contract Strategy Virtual Summit. With the exception of our presenters, all of you should have ended up here in the live stream through Feedloop. And Feedloop is, I would think of it as sort of a miniature little social network just for the attendees and presenters and sponsors of this summit. I really encourage you to consider using Feedloop going forward. It will be live for at least 6 months following the conclusion of this summit. You're going to be able to find a lot of information there. We'll continue to post, questions and comments that came out of the live streams. We're going to post the recordings here in the sessions menu. So if you right now go and select, for example, the spectrum of traditional contracting models, here you can see who the speakers were, the description of the session, and right now it says click here to join stream, but soon it will there will actually be a recording of that session that you can go back and look at or watch if you happen to miss it yesterday. You can see there's a live chat feed here as well where you can leave your questions and comments for presenters. There's some great networking tools in here as well. You can do live video chats in themed groups with other attendees. You can send direct messages to other attendees. You can browse the sponsors hall, check out some of the great free resources that have been posted up there. And again, just have some fun with it. Come back after the live event has concluded, and we'll try to keep it fresh in there for at least a couple of weeks after the event. But it'll be a great future reference tool for you. And by the way, we've got this photo booth feature. I'm trying to break the ice here, so I posted one up. Leave a photo, let us know where you're from, leave a comment, and hopefully it'll add a little element of fun to this event. So that was about it. We're also going to continue to use Slido throughout the rest of day 2 to do Q&A and run some polls, as Robert already mentioned. So I think we're going to move to that next.
Now, if you want to go ahead with the Slido, and then just make another mention of how we'll be using that for people to enter their questions to us for each of the speakers. Each of our speakers, starting at 8:30, will have a Q&A session as a part of their program. Yesterday, we were kind of batching several speakers on topics, and so they did questions later in the day. But we'll be going speaker by speaker Q&A, and then we'll have a closing session with Q&A as well.
That's right. Yeah, use your cell phone if you can, or another window in your on your computer, and go to slido.com. Use event code CII when prompted, and at any point throughout the day, you'll be able to leave a question or a comment or respond to a poll depending on what's active. So it's definitely a key part of the summit. So let's go to Slido now and do this morning's poll. And there's already some feedback, which is great.
And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be using this feature to receive your input at the end to create a word map out of what people gained from today's session. We appreciate your input. In yesterday's, we were asking about the background of people. We had a very heavy a number of owners. Then next were EPCs and a number of service providers in terms of our participants in yesterday's session. Okay, with that, let's move into our thought providers, thought leaders, and Annabella. If you'll take it over, Annabelle Martin from Hilti, and she's going to introduce the speakers, some of the speakers from today's sessions, and they'll go through the rest of the people. Annabella?
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everybody. Glad to be with you here today on our second day. Just wanted to briefly mention, and I think the word cloud and what we'll see later this afternoon will be interesting, but in the word cloud that we saw today, something that just popped out to me that I wanted to mention was, the collaboration and transparency and how important that is. And if you noticed in the word cloud, the stronger that is, the smaller the risk is. And so something that just struck me and thought I'd mention to you. So I am currently the chair for CII's Supply Chain Management TBA. I also represent Hilti in the Board of Advisors. I'm an international business developer with Hilti, and today I actually have the pleasure of introducing Michael Dubray. I've recently had the opportunity to team up with him in support of CII's Public or Power, Utility, and Infrastructure Joint Working Group on supply chain. So Michael is the managing partner for PTAG. He has close to 40 years of experience leading projects and organizations through significant development and growth from concept through startup, turnarounds, change management, restructuring, and process improvement. As a project manager and advisor, Michael Dubrail has been involved in multiple projects in most industrial sectors, from single site to programs spanning hundreds of locations. Michael is currently serving as an advisor, coach, and facilitator on an 8-year hydroelectric project, which we'll hear about later today, using collaborative contracting. This was the first I2PD project. Michael has had an extensive career and has been involved over the years with many associations, including the Canadian Nuclear Association, the Organization of Canadian Nuclear Industries, the Association for the Advancement of Cost Engineering, Project Management Institute, the Construction Users Roundtable, and CII, just to name a few. He served as the vice chair for CII's Research Committee RT341, I2PD, which had the chance to present their findings at the CII's annual conference in Indianapolis in 2018. He's a member of the Phase 2 of I2PD, a longitudinal research, which is working on up to 30 pilot projects, and he'll have an opportunity to share more about that with us today. He's serving as the chair of the Sector Leadership Committee, and as I mentioned, he's supporting the Power Utility Joint Working Group, their strategic objective in the elevation of supply chain practices within our capital project base. After having worked under every contracting strategy and payments method across many industries, what Michael has come to realize is that there has to be a better way. He spent the last 6 years exploring, researching, and implementing collaborative contracting. So today, Michael will share his experience and the latest industry insights on collaborative contracting approaches, and really focusing and building on what we learned from the group yesterday. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you. Jamie?
Yes, thank you, Bob. So, as we're hearing, a key topic today will be integrated project delivery for industrial projects, or I2PD. For my role as vice chair of the CII Advanced Work Packaging Community for Business Advancement, I've looked more closely at I2PD over the past year in particular, as we consider differences and complementary elements of various project delivery approaches. And I clearly see the merit of the I2PD collaboration and integration principles and the implementation methods. And as you learn more about IPD, you may come away not with the question of why should I implement integrated project delivery on a project, but rather, why not? Our planned presenters also include Bruce Burwell and Allison Bradley today. Bruce possesses an in-depth knowledge of I2PD, and he was first to implement I2PD on a project for Ontario Power Generation, or OPG. He led the OPG I2PD team in development of the multi-party agreement and creation of the templates needed for the project planning and execution. Bruce is chair of the CII Research Team 383 on I2PD. He's leading this group of academic and industry professionals in validating findings from phase 1 of the research on projects that are planned and executed with I2PD collaboration and integration principles and methods. Alison Bradley is also with Ontario Power Generation. She's Director of Asset and Projects in Southeast Operation, Renewable Generation. Alison was the Senior Manager of Supply Chain with the first I2PD contract when it was awarded for the Otto Holden Turbine Generator Overhaul Project. She's now leading the Otto Holden Overhaul team as part of the CII Research Team 383 I2PD Phase 2. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Jay?
Yeah, good morning. So exciting agenda already, as has been described. So, Jay Mosier, you all have met me. Not going to spend any time on my introduction because we've got really good presenters coming up this afternoon. John Fotherby and Tony Mapleston. I'm going to introduce them. They're going to be talking after lunch today. John, he's managing and interpreting and applying engineering contracts has been central to his career for 5 decades, ranging from dealing with day-to-day contract issues and dispute resolution in various roles and capacities for owners or for contractors and subcontractors. He's drafted contracts from square one, negotiated contracts based on standard forms and bespoke contracts, and he provided guidance and advice to prospective contracting parties as to suitability of their contracting arrangements and what should or should not be accepted in those contracts. So today, together with Tony Mapleston, he has also drafted the European Construction Institute Collaborative Working Agreement. So that's CWA for short. A lot of acronyms this week, so try to make sure we explain what those are. This is based on upon and embodies the principles and the practice of collaborative working enshrined in the Engineering and Construction Industry Training Board's Project Collaboration Toolkit. And that's what they will be talking about today. One is about that toolkit. We also have Tony Mapleston. Tony, during his career as a project manager, which has lasted more than 40 years, by the way, he's represented owners and contractors and engineers on projects and has adopted various contract forms. He sees many successes, but on some projects also experienced conflict, as we all have, and adversity through misalignment or poor behaviors that impede our project delivery and success. In 2016, he was given the opportunity to capture his experiences when he was asked to author the guidance to collaborative behavior and relationship that contained in the engineering collaboration toolkit. So since then, he's been supporting the project in this application, and in 2020, alongside John, he's been helping to create the ECI Collaborative Working Agreement, a multi-party form agreement that embodies the principle and intent of the ECITB Project Collaboration Toolkit. So welcome, gentlemen. Enjoy it. I'm looking forward to hearing you today. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you. Eric? Eric, you're on mute.
Hey there, Eric Crivella, Director of Business Development at Digital Construction Works, Chair of the CII AWP CBA. Very passionate about the advanced work packaging and this topic of integrated project delivery, particularly in the industrial segment. So I have the pleasure today of teeing up the Partnering and Alliance and case study by Phil Barutha and Rob Cameron. This is coming up later on this afternoon. So Phil will discuss the theory and the benefits of alliancing at a high level, and he'll be joined by Rob Cameron, who will provide a case study on the Christchurch infrastructure rebuild project from 2011 to 2016. This is over $2 billion undertaking. And a little bit of background on Phil. Dr. Phil here is assistant professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln at the Durham School of Architecture, Engineering, and Construction. He's a well-known academic in for alliancing and partnering. Phil holds a PhD and a master's in civil engineering and construction, right, in construction engineering. Phil's PhD work includes research on the collaborative and integrated project delivery methodology such as alliancing and integrated project delivery. And he is currently serving as the principal investigator of CII's research team 383 in terms of investigating industrial integrated project delivery, or the I2PD. Phil has international experience working on alliance projects as an engineer assigned to the SCIRT, right, the Stronger Christchurch Infrastructure Rebuild Team, based out of Christchurch, New Zealand in 2015. In addition, Phil is a member of a research team that's been updating the Ashido Partnering Handbook that was published in 2018 by the National Cooperative Highway Research Program. So quite an extensive background in alliancing and partnering. Then we have Rob Cameron. Rob is the principal at Engage and the former program director at SCIRT, right? Rob is leading a team establishing the Engage model for effective rebuild and recovery following disasters. The goal of the Engage model is to make it easier for the people in New Zealand and globally to prepare, mobilize, and recover from disasters using collaborative knowledge and systems born out of these various earthquakes and disaster recovery. Rob's involvement in disaster recovery began as a founding member of the Christchurch Infrastructure Rebuild Team, which was established to repair and rebuild $2 billion horizontal infrastructure of Christchurch, New Zealand. During 5 years in the management team at SCIRT, Rob gained significant experience in post-disaster rebuild and recovery, stakeholder engagement, value demonstration, governance, funding, leadership, alliance contracting, and risk management. Before all that, he was quite involved in 45 years in property and building and construction, and 25 years in project management in Australia and New Zealand. So we're looking forward to having a presentation from both Phil and Rob. We learned yesterday that out of crisis comes some of our best collaboration. So we'll look forward to hearing their presentation and the case study later today.
Thank you, Eric. If we'll go to we have a little introductory video to all of the programs this morning of day 2, and we'll run that. After that, we'll come back to Michael Dubrell for his collaborative contracting approaches.
Welcome back to the CII Contract Strategy Summit. The morning presenters are Mike Dubrell, Bruce Burwell, and Allison Bradley. First, in collaborative contracting approaches, Mike will present the available collaborative contracting approaches and provide context for I2, PD, and partnering, alliancing. Then, Bruce and Mike will introduce the Industrial Integrated Project Delivery, or I2PD model. This collaborative integrated delivery method can provide cost, schedule, design, and quality improvements. Afterward, Allison and Mike will present a case study of I2PD application on an Ontario power generation pilot project.